Hey, welcome back. I hope you are ready to get into some 2021 planning today. I used to be against New Year's resolutions, but with this new path I found, I love setting goals for the new year. Grab a nice cup of coffee and settle in because this video is a little longer, but I hope it's full of really helpful nuggets of information. If you just stumbled across my channel, my name is Harmony. I have been on the illustration path, trying to learn how to illustrate, better my art skills, etc. since March of 2019. And before that, I was a typical New Year's resolution statistic. I made a million different plans and basically I failed. I would set these lofty, huge goals, like basically I'm gonna become the perfect person, like whatever it is in my head that I think I should be or the habits I should have, I'm gonna do it all, right? And here's my daily plan and I'm gonna, just crush it end to end and I'm gonna change my whole life. And that motivation lasted really long, like at least a week or two. And then the whole, house of cards just collapsed. Often by January 2nd, it was like all out the door. And so how did I do it? Because what I have achieved is that I have managed to transform myself and become a person who is committed over the long term to her personal goals, who's made a lot of progress and is still on that path in illustration. And so to me, that was such a life-changing journey I went on that I really wanted to share with you the resources that I had, what I learned, how I experimented. I'm hoping that some of those things could be helpful for you. But I think a big takeaway before I jump into that is you need to experiment. That is the only way that you're going to figure out how you can get there too. Because for me, a lot of the advice that I was getting, so much of the advice that was like, this is the gold standard, it didn't work for me. But it didn't matter. It was just the wrong path for me. It was the wrong approach to getting my goals done, to building those habits. So that being said, I want to share some of the awesome books and some of the principles that I took from that, but also, things that I changed to work for my situation. The very first thing that I had to do was to develop the habit. And in my case, the habit that I was looking to develop was drawing or painting. I wanted to get better at it, have much bigger goals than just getting better, but I knew I did not have the foundation that I needed. I did not have the skill. So to get there, I knew it was going to be endless hours of painting that I would have to do. So how did I make myself do that? So I still have my little planner from 2019, and what I'll share with you is this page. So my big plan was that I was going to draw, let me see, I think it was 17 and a half hours a week, every week. So I created this little plan here, and it was like the weekly goal, the dates, the total goal that it was going to be adding up to, and where I actually landed that week. You can see I only tracked to about 200 hours in this tracker, and then in this tracker you can see I only tracked from March through the end of May. But I gave up on the tracking because at that point it had become a habit. It had become ingrained and I didn't need this crutch anymore to hold me accountable. I was doing the thing and it no longer was about simply building the habit, putting in the hours. Then it became about other things, developing specific skills or, drawing a certain number of paintings or, there were all these bigger goals that were not tied to a specific number of hours invested anymore. But this is what it took. In this case for me, it took 200 hours for me to build that habit and get it ingrained in myself. 3 months of getting to 142 hours to make that process natural so that I could give up on the crutch of tracking kind of daily if I had been painting or not. I mean, yes, would it have been cool if I tracked this all the way through the end of the year? yeah, it would have been really cool. I created this whole tracker and I didn't end up filling it out. But do I think I failed? No, not at all, because the goal was so much bigger than just putting in the hours, and the hours was a habit to get to those goals. So for me, that's something that really worked. I definitely recommend at the beginning tracking a habit one by one until you have developed that habit and it becomes fully ingrained in who you are. Now, something else though that I learned in that process is something that doesn't work for me. And that is actually having, the goal of drawing daily. I have gotten that advice from different coaches. I have read it. I have heard it everywhere. It's like, you have to draw daily. You must paint daily. Otherwise you will never get good and you'll never make progress. And that is, the first level of commitment that you have to bring to the table. Well, that does not work for me. I have a demanding job outside of this artwork, and I have, other commitments, and sometimes I'm just tired. I don't want to burn out, and I hate forcing myself when I know I'm tired, I'm cranky, I'm sick, whatever it may be. I don't want to sit down, and I want to give myself that freedom, because to me, the goal also has to be filled with joy. Like if I'm constantly forcing myself, and I have those days where, I touch the paper and everything is just horrible. Like it is a bad painting. There's nothing I can do to save it. And in that case, I am okay with not drawing every day. That's something I have let go of in my own personal art journey. I do not need to draw every day, but I know that I make the sacrifices on the weekends where often for a full day or both days, I will be sitting here and I'm talking about, investing 8, 12, 20, whatever, how many hours on a weekend to get better at your craft. And that's something that really works for my life. It doesn't mean I sacrifice a lot of other things that maybe I would also like to do on the weekends, but you cannot do everything. Something has got to give, and you have to find a way to incorporate this habit and the tasks to get towards your goal into your own life. And that will look different for every single person. And that really is my lesson number 2 is something's gotta give, and you have to define proactively what that thing is gonna be. I tried a lot of different things and have now figured out what works for me, what keeps me on track, what keeps me moving. Figure out what works with your personality, with your life, with your time plan, with your kind of goals and aspirations, and also with your reality of, what is your work situation like? What's your home situation like? All these different little puzzle pieces. How can you, in the middle of all that, achieve what you really want to do? So the book Finished by Jon Acuff, you have maybe seen me recommend before in this video up here, which has tons of great resources for illustrators. So that's, Finished by Jon Acuff. Give yourself the gift of done, and getting something done is an amazing feeling. And then Atomic Habits, Tiny Changes, Remarkable Results by James Clear. Between those 2 books and my personal experimentation, what I've really found is you have to define what you're not going to be able to do. So you can't just keep adding to your calendar, to your life. Those things are going to take time. So what is it that you have decided you will be bad at? What are the things that you have decided are not going to get done? And I think that is such an important thing to think about beforehand, because you're not going to just keep adding. It doesn't make sense. That's not how life works. But we think that somehow we're going to be able to develop 10 new good habits and keep all the wonderful things we love at the same time and not have any change in our life. And that's just not going to happen. You have to make room in your life. You have to become wildly committed to your goal, and you have to decide in advance what you are going to say no to in your life so that you can say yes to this much bigger dream or goal of yours. Have that inner commitment that you are doing this thing no matter what. You are going to pursue this. And I think that is so important, to have that deep understanding and that deep reason why. That is tip number 3, is understand your why. Be really clear on the why. Why does this mean so much to you? Why have you selected this goal? It'll make it easier to stay committed, to say no to other things, to give up and to sacrifice something to move towards that goal. And also, one huge thing that it will help you do is to be able to course correct. So let's use my example in illustration in 2020. So I started off convinced that I wanted to learn the skills of picture book illustration. I took courses on it. I would invest all my hours. I had specific goals to, develop portfolio pieces. I had everything booked to go to the Bologna Book Fair, which of course then was canceled in 2020. But this was my vision. This is what I thought I was going to do. And yet I have a much deeper creative core that is not specifically linked to something that's specific. So I invested so much time and I did improve my skill. But having that deeper why also allowed me to then redecide, to adjust my sails and to say, I don't know, there's something in my gut, in my core that is not aligning with this. It does not feel like I'm on the right path with this. And what can I do? So I set my sails differently. And if you have seen this video above, you know what direction I'm going in. And that feels, again, really joyful, really happy, truly aligned. And I'm glad that I could do that and I could adjust without shame. I could adjust without feeling like I failed on building a picture book portfolio, because that is what I had defined as a goal for 2020, because it was no longer right for me. But it doesn't mean that everything I invested was wasted, because it actually made things clearer for me and got me on a path that I think is even more aligned and still holds true to that why, that motivation of why do I want to get better in illustration. I really suggest that you have that deeper look at, what is the value system? What are your strengths? What is it that you're trying to align with and grow into with your goal, so that you are able to change it if along the process you realize that that is not actually going to support you and help you get to where you are trying to go. And so that is my big recommendation. Be really clear on the why, so that you can say no to other things and that you can adjust if the goal that you've set for yourself is not serving you anymore. The next tip that I think is so important to realize is that you cannot control the outcome. I don't have anything against vision boards or doing affirmations. I know there's a lot, also kind of in positive psychology, to already see yourself as, being that person or having achieved what it takes. But what I take issue with is if you don't run with the second step, which is vital to make that work. And that is, you gotta put in the work. That is so important, right? Yes, absolutely have your vision. That's incredible, because to me, I like to set goals and dreams and targets that are so far beyond my reach at this given point that they inspire me into movement. Like, I need something to be so far out of reach that I know if I don't get going, there's no way I'm gonna even get close. And I personally have a personality where I don't mind falling short of my goals. I know it gets a lot of people down and they feel like a failure if they haven't achieved this lofty goal. For me, it doesn't matter if it inspires me to move forward, and setting giant, kind of maybe ridiculous from my current standpoint kind of goals is what inspires me to get moving. And I know that, if I miss too many days, I'm not gonna make it, right? So I love having those grand visions. But my big takeaway for you is that you cannot control the end outcome. Let's say in a YouTube space, right? I cannot control how quickly my channel grows. I cannot control subscriber numbers. I cannot control any of that. The only thing I can control, and it's the same on the art side, right? I can't control how many people fall in love with my art. I cannot control whether or not one day I'll be published in a magazine in that sense. I can only control the actions, what I put in on a regular basis. What are the small steps? What is the one thing I can do today to move me towards that big goal? And I think that is super important. Like, absolutely create your big visions to keep you inspired and to motivate you. But know that having this pie in the sky kind of dream is nothing without, building that ladder with the different rungs to climb up there. And that is what you have control over. What you do yourself, your own actions, your own habits, your own commitment. That's all you can do. And if that doesn't lead as quickly or, in the exact direction that you want, yeah, you can adjust. But don't feel bad if you're not achieving the end goal, if you have done everything that you could to put in the effort. That's how I see it. Like, have I been sitting at this desk for hundreds of hours improving my skills? Yes. Have I reached out to people? Did I start this channel? Am I putting myself out there? Am I putting in the work? Am I putting in the hours? Am I sticking to it? Then I've had a successful year. And everything else is out of my control. And the only thing I can do is think of ways, of concrete steps that I can take to move me closer. And if I have set up my life in a way where I will stay committed to that and I won't burn out, it won't fizzle out, it's going at a pace that is sustainable, then to me, that is success. Feeling happy with your journey, because you have to be happy in the journey and you have to be happy with your progress and you have to see that growth in the day-to-day. Start to see what you're investing, your habits, the hours, the consistency as something that will grow exponentially, kind of like with compound interest in the stock market. Like, the more and the more consistently that you can show up, the better the outcome is going to be. And it's not going to grow from day one. Your art practice and the people that appreciate it is not going to grow steadily from day one. Like, you have to put in the work, you have to get better, you have to, kind of gain that exposure. It's not going to be some miracle that comes overnight. And that is the way that I see it. Keep showing up, keep putting in the work, keep the joy alive, stay motivated, and stay patient. Just keep going for your own happiness and your own soul's sake, with those big goals to guide you as the North Star to lead the way, and just find a way to stick with it. That's what has happened for me, and I am so happy and content that 2 years in I am still pursuing the same kind of dreams and visions, and I am in alignment with my personal values, with my strengths, and I'm growing. Growth in your skills, growth in yourself as a person, growth in your habits. To me, that is success. And hopefully one day I reach my huge goals, but in the end, the journey is just as important. And I think putting your effort on that and what you can do to make things happen, and what you can do to become the person that can achieve those goals and those dreams, that is a really important point of view to ingrain in yourself and your soul. So I hope that these little tips were really helpful for you. I hope that you learned a little bit, something maybe that you can try that you haven't before if you have struggled with achieving some of your goals. And with that being said, let us jump into some of my 2021 planning. So I wanted to take you through what my planning process looks like with just one little example. What I'm planning on doing is to have basically a sealed envelope. So I am going to finish writing them all down when I'm done with this video, and then to seal that envelope, because I do have, my little gear here. So I'm going to seal that, date it, and then at the end of the year I will open that on camera so we can do a review of like how far I got. But I don't want to share everything just yet. But I'm going to go through one example of like how I would apply some of the principles and some of the ideas I shared earlier in this video to my own planning. The very first thing I do is to create categories where, I focus my goals. So I'm not going to have 10 categories. I usually have like 3. So for example, I'm going to have a financial category that focuses on some personal savings goals, which I will not be sharing in this video. Then I will share some of my art goals, but not all of them. That's another big category, of course. Otherwise, you wouldn't be following this channel if that wasn't a big focus in my life. And then there'll be another category or 2. But so I kind of separate that in that way, but I don't pick too many categories because I know I cannot do everything. So what is the most important for me in that coming year? Before I define the exact goals as far as the next steps, action steps, how to get here, the why is so important. Now, I'm not going to give you that why for myself because it is so personal. One day I will share that, but not today. But that is a super important step you have to take before you get to the what, because otherwise, if the specific what is not working out, that's going to feel like a big failure versus being able to readjust the what to, support that why. And I think the why, that kind of core motivation that you have in you, in your life goals, in your life vision, in your values, that is something that is pretty constant. The what, that can change from year to year, even from month to month, and you can definitely adjust that to fit this why. So super important that you get clear on that and that you commit to that why, and subsequently you commit to the what. So for example, my what is that I want to share my art with the world. I'm sorry if this is super scraggly, that's why I'm telling you what I'm writing. So that is pretty darn vague, right? So what does that look like if I want to share my art with the world? One avenue that I have chosen, wow, that's an interesting letter, is YouTube. So that will help me achieve this goal. And something that's specific that I would like to do is, one big lofty ambition of mine is to reach 1,000 subscribers by December 2021. So within 1 year from writing this goal. Now, kind of as a background, current status, I think it's important to take into consideration where are you, because you want to have stretch goals, but you don't want to have goals that are so impossible that you're just going to fail and become demotivated. So my current status is 130 subscribers. Oops. But it took me from July to December 2020. And so that this is a huge kind of jump that I'm looking for. Within 12 months, that would be 100 a month versus 6 months to 130. So, that is a big change. And that's why I also kind of give myself stretch goals, which, this would be a stretch goal. And then more realistically, where might I get? And, just feeling good moving forward towards that goal. So this is one big lofty goal. I don't know if I'm going to achieve it. Now I have this goal. And so then it's what are the concrete steps or sub-plans that I'm going to have to follow through with to get there? So something that I evaluated is the frequency of my uploads, for example. Well, I was doing one about every 2 to 3, sometimes even 4 weeks at the beginning from July through November. And growth was very slow, and it took me a long time to make these videos. And I think I'm breaking even as far as like, no, not even. Like, I think I've invested more time recording and editing all these videos than combined my entire channel has been watched. So, that's okay. That's what it's going to take at the beginning. But so I kind of evaluated, trial and error, how frequently can I upload, and, how much content do people want to see. I went to the other extreme, which took me a lot of prep work, like probably about 8 weeks, and then very consistent focus in December with lots of, time off as well in that month, to put out 10 videos. So I wanted to do like 3 videos a week. Absolutely impossible even during that time. I got 2 a week, and that was really, exciting, but a push that I know I can't sustain in a regular month. And so what I would really like to do is find that middle ground, which would be, 1 video per week. And I also know that there's content that I really love and kind of the content that I want to share. But then there's also the question of being useful to you, right? This channel is not all about me. It is about you, and what can I also create, to make you enjoy and to learn and get value out of this. So I've decided I'm going to have, continue to do kind of the vlogs with, focus about my artwork and my journey and, my personal life, and to kind of keep that open and personal and to make the connection with you, but also to really give you that kind of value and alternate it with more kind of educational, knowledge sharing kind of content about what I am learning in illustration, the resources I find, my experience, all of that. And I think that'll make a really good, engaging mix that's hopefully really great for you as my core audience. So if you're interested in this kind of content in 2021, please do subscribe. But so I would take all this kind of information and, I'm going to do this with a bunch of other goals, but not too many. Like I said, a few focused areas that I want to put my efforts into, and then a few different approaches of how I'm going to proceed specifically with specific tasks and specific small targets that make this giant goal much more tangible. And then I take that, my calendar for 2021 is still in the mail. I'm not going to let that hold me back. I'm going to, use what I have right now and then transfer it over later into my new little toolbox. But yeah, so I would go through and kind of, yes, I would define maybe what I'm going to do on each day, but I know I don't actually do something every single day, at least not, painting. Like I might edit a video that takes tons of days. So I might be able to intersperse that in the evenings because I know that's the kind of thing that I can do with my brain after work, whereas painting is not something that I can easily do. But so I will maybe set, a few targets for the week, like here's the 4 things I want to get done this week, and then I can move them around within the week, and as long as it gets done that week or, by the end of the month, I'm on track and I'm happy with that. I even have these removable little sticky notes so that I specifically can move things around. So if I was planning something for Wednesday, but on Wednesday, you know what, I am just cranky and need to go to bed early. Whatever, I'll do it on Friday. No problem. You can move it around. So that's kind of how I take some of those big, lofty ambitions and make an actionable plan. So I'll share at the end of 2021 if I was able to get to these lofty ambitions by using this kind of system. And yeah, if you want to see also kind of from the bottom up, because I know I'm not sharing all my goals with you publicly just yet, but you will be able to see kind of the little steps, and I'll share with you in the vlogs that then hopefully will lead up to revealing some of the larger goals that I have for myself. All right, so I hope that this was really helpful for you. I would love to hear what your goals are for 2021. Please share them below in the comments. And also, I would love to hear if you have other ways that have helped you. So if you have been on this journey and you're saying, I'm not, I don't quit my New Year's resolutions. I've achieved all these goals in my personal life or in my art. Tell everyone down below. I bet everyone who watches this video would love to hear the different experiences and different perspectives so that we can all learn from each other and experiment to make it work in our own life. And if you want to know where my journey goes, what I actually achieve of the 2021 goals I have set, please subscribe down below. Is it this corner? Please subscribe down below. Or is it this corner? Subscribe. I would love to share my journey with you and keep you updated. And of course, I will continue, like I did in this video, to share the resources, the tips, the tricks, what I learned, anything about the illustration field that might be helpful to you as well, because I'm so grateful to everyone who has done the same for me. Well, let's have a quick little review of the year 2020. I already did a review through the end of fall, the beginning of fall. So I'm not going to go over more than the first half of the year. You can check that out above here if you are interested in catching up on that background. But I will go over what I kind of did in October, November, and December. So one of the big things that I haven't talked that much about is, starting this YouTube channel. So I am quite proud of myself that I have stuck to it. It's definitely a slow growth kind of scenario, and I think I have a long, long journey ahead of me to make it what I want it to be. But I did do 20 videos between July and the end of December 2020, started fresh. And 10 of those actually were in December, which is something that I know long term is not a speed I can keep up with. That is not an expectation I ever had for myself. But I planned way ahead. I think I started in September or October preparing, and I got out Vlogmas. Now, I only achieved 9 out of the 12 Vlogmas videos. I wanted to do 3 a week, but I don't consider it a failure. I'm sorry if you do. I hope you don't. I hope you didn't miss the extra videos too much, but I'm really happy with those 9 videos, and I would rather have 9 videos that I am happy with versus just like getting something out to get it out and wasting your time watching those, kind of low quality, because I do believe that as part of making those 20 videos, and especially as part of that December push with the 10 videos, that my editing skills have improved. There's still definitely room at the top, lots more growth to happen. But if I look at like the first video, the sound quality, the lighting quality, the editing, how engaging it was, how I was speaking to the camera, so much has already improved. And so I'm really happy with the journey that I am on there. I will openly share some of the statistics. I know for those of you who have your own YouTube channel and are maybe way further along in the journey, this might seem laughable, but I am really happy. This is something that's completely fresh to me, and I'm so happy to have taken that step. It's something I had been thinking about and was anxious about starting, like not anxious excited, but anxious like I don't want to put myself out there, but I do. People are going to think I'm ridiculous. I'm in my 30s. What am I doing to create a YouTube channel? We all have those self-doubts, right? But I did it, and it's bringing me so much joy and more growth and happiness, and I love sharing this content with you. So I really hope that, of course, you are enjoying it, and if you do, I would really appreciate a little like on the video. So yeah, that's kind of where my YouTube journey has gone. And yeah, I think I mentioned one of the Vlogmas videos that I had passed 100 subscribers. That was my big goal, to get there by the end of the year. As of this filming, I was at 130 subscribers, and that is incredible. Of course, then like it starts growing, and all of a sudden you want 150, 200, like that's going to happen overnight. It's not. But yeah, I'm really happy that I reached that goal, and thank you so much if you are watching my videos. It truly, you make my day. You give me so much lightness and brightness in my world for watching these videos. So some of the other things that I achieved, I went through a big round of mailing, of creating, let me show you here, of creating, oh, that's a little bright, huh? Of creating these postcards and starting to send those out, as kind of a promotional material, as well as to friends and family. Oh, I love how they shine. So yeah, I'm actually really happy. And also because, I did take that leap in the fall Vlogmas. I was still like scared to say that I wanted to change my path in my illustration goals towards this kind of illustration. But then it felt so good to say it out loud and to just kind of step into that new direction. Along with Vlogmas, I also had quite a few Instagram posts that I did. I will show you a little print screen of that here. And again, it's like my big goal was to do 24 new images. I did not get that done, but I made this big push for December and for one of my favorite seasons. So I still consider it a success, because my other option with the advent calendar also, I have a really cool video where I show you how I made this advent calendar for 2020, which was a huge goal that I was already talking about like in the summer and definitely in the fall. I knew I wanted to do this, and yet kind of life got in the way with some illness and some other things, and it really shortened the amount of time I had to pull this off. And yet I did it, and it wasn't perfect, and it wasn't exactly how I had this grand vision of the 24 new images plus the cover image and everything going out by December 1st, but I got something done that I am happy with. Was it perfect? No, it was not what I envisioned, because again, my dreams and goals are so huge that I, sometimes fall short. But I'm glad, because the other alternative, and that is, also really one of the messages in this book, the alternative was to have nothing, like to not get it out, to say it's not perfect, I'm giving up, and not to find a way to get it done and get it out there. And so I'm happy that I did it, And if I do another advent calendar, I will definitely approach that differently, give me more time to, get towards the vision that I did want to achieve. But I still consider it a success that, I created an advent calendar and got something out in the mail. And so those are kind of the big things that stick out to me for the last few months of the year regarding my artwork. I did have, I think, one more portfolio review, but that was still in the children's book space, at which point I had signed up for it, but already kind of decided I was going in another direction. So that feedback helped solidify, how I was feeling about that goal. So that was fine. I'm trying to think. Nothing else stands out to me that was like the big wow. I'm putting this on my checklist of great achievements. But yeah, I'm pretty happy. Took quite a few courses, created quite a few portfolio pieces. Decided to realign with where I wanted to go with my artwork, created this YouTube channel, already got 20 videos out, improved my skills on the video editing stage there. And most of all, my biggest achievement is I'm still going, right? This March 2019 to December 2020 illustration. It's been a goal, and I am still on the path. I did not give up after a day or a week or 2 weeks or 2 months or even 6 months. I'm still on this path, and it's incredible. And I wish that same thing for you. If there's something that you are just supremely interested in and wish that you could make happen in your life, that you could get better and build a skill, I really wish that you get on that same path where you can figure out a way that works for you to stick to this and move one little step at a time towards what you want to do.